Hey guys, Fire here. So quite a lot has changed since 7.24b, but sites don't really track it properly. It's a bit of a weird patch. I did some digging instead, and we're going to take a look at Korea leading up to Season 8. I can't really go 2 weeks without stalking Koreans. It just doesn't really feel right. So here's a few picks that are pretty different to our games as well. A few new things to try. We're going to kick this off, link and stuff down below, but let's jump into it. For once, we're going to start with supports. The reason we're starting here is because some of the highest win rates overall are in the support role, which is kind of weird. Supports actually have nabbed the AD carries carry patterns and stuck them on instead. Actually, before that, let's quickly look at the bans for this patch from Korea. This is really good to look at because these are the champions that Korea think are overpowered, are too strong, they can win too easily, and are too difficult to play against. Basically, everything you would want from a solo queue pick, and should mean that they would be really good to climb with. Most of these top 10 are pretty standard, I think, but the next 10 after that are really cool. These are the ones who will normally slide through pick and ban and be available to play most of the time anyway. They are still really good though, and at least in the eyes of Korea, they don't really have counters, or they are just really strong. Alistar, Taric, Leona, Blitz, these are the main four, but Alistar especially right now. Remember when like all of these Janna players were running around with Aunt last season and she was completely broken? If he keeps going, he is going to hit that same level pretty much. Now is actually a really good time to climb playing support. It's easier to play, easier to climb, which shouldn't really work that way. Like the two together doesn't make sense. Taric is the lower ranked version, by the way. Basically a less active, less aggressive, easier, but just an effective version of Alistar in a way, I guess. Taric has held the #1 win rate in bronze and silver for the past few weeks, and he is really high up everywhere else as well. Basically, Alistar provides like a ton of engage and playmaking with a lot of damage early, especially with Aftershock. The meta is honestly kind of who can kill the AD carry first, like which support can kill the enemy AD first, and Alistar is normally going to win that, to be honest. It's pretty sad, but that's actually how this is. Then after that, you can roam around with Moby Boots, dive towers with your ultimate, and basically control the game just like a jungler would. That is why he's so effective. If you're sick of playing versus Zoe as well, Alistar is a really good counter to her. Actually kind of counters most AD carries right now in the meta, but Leona and Blitzcrank are the same idea. Fight a ton, get a lead, and then roam around. The reason I really wanted to mention this all at the start of the video is because support gets so much stick for not being able to carry, but in preseason they really can, and this is your proof right here. The new kid on the block for the junglers is Trinity Force Udyr, mostly with Warrior, some take Blood Razor though. He is really good early game, but the cool thing is if the game goes later, he still packs a massive punch after the recent-ish Tiger changes. You've also got Celerity buffing his AD with Water Walking just below that. Koreans absolutely love that 1-2 punch combo on junglers, like in the sorcery tree. Build is really ham though, just full damage, but really good at crapping on AD carries, which I'm pretty sad about, but that is his job really, right? Normally blue smite Warrior so they can't run away, Trinity Force, and then Deadman, Sterix, Titanic, or just tank items. Even Righteous Glory can be good. You can mix it up, build more damage if you need to, or just more tanky items. Apart from taking a major dump on Korean solo queue right now, I kind of want to mention this one as well because Pressy Attack is used the most, but other keystones are still working. Electrocute is here with Precision secondary for more burst damage, even Aftershock with Sorcery secondary, which is kind of a tank Udyr setup. The point is, if a champion can have a really high win rate with lots of different styles and keystones and stuff, it normally means that that champion is actually legitimately insane right now. It does kind of help that he beats all carry matchups at the moment, which is perfect for solo queue because that's all everybody plays. Some of his worst matchups are like Sejuani or Shyvana or Jax. These are not played that often though. Stick him next to a Lee Sin or a Kayn, even Kha'Zix, and he will burst him super hard. Evelynn is very similar. She's actually held the #1 win rate in Korea this entire patch, and it's kind of like the AP version of Udyr, doing a similar job, right? Designed to really ruin a carry player's day. Her damage is insanely high at the moment, but the thing is, she doesn't fall off anymore like old Evelynn would. Like, she would have to snowball, right? Now she has this pretty solid win rate throughout the game. Early game is still her best phase, but that makes sense. If she gets ahead, you can't really do that much with the ultimate execute. The ultimate is a really big change for her, honestly. Koreans even run ultimate hat right now, which shows you just how important that is. Rammus is the only really bad matchup that you're going to have. Everybody else you can kill, and if not, she can ultimate away and escape, which is so annoying. You know, honestly, her healing and stealth is pretty dumb as well. So many times she runs out of a fight low health, then comes back to almost full to finish you off. We're going to have a quick mention for Warwick, coming up a lot more. This one is played more in every other region, more than Evelynn and Udyr, though. They play in full tank, apart from Titanic Hydra, and use that Pressy Attack damage to try and carry, really. Warwick is all about the early game snowball, though. Really good for like the first 3 to 4 item phase of the game, and then just a hard fall off. Goes from like 6th best jungle win rate early down to 32nd late game. That shows you just how hard he really does fall off. Predator is still used. They also have a cool page with Pressy Attack taking inspiration secondary with the CDR and the stopwatch or free boots. The top lane meta shifts like every single week, I swear. It's so hard to track. There are so many things coming up and down, but for real, if you want to climb, play Kleptomancy Nasus or Kleptomancy Alawi 100%. The meta counter for career right now, though, is actually Kled. Above gold, he is the overall highest win rate, higher than any other champion in any other role for the past few weeks. A lot of that has to do with if he gets ahead, you cannot actually do that much against him. He has one of the best early game win rates from the top lane because he's really good at ending with his advantage. He has this like way to get in and do his damage. That ultimate can roam to mid lane or roam to bot lane from base and snowball a whole game out of control. It's the one thing winning your lane and stuff. Like, it's another thing when the problem top lane spreads to bot lane as well, and that lead ends up going there. I think he is probably one of the best solo queue picks right now to really carry a game properly. Like, runes are honestly very standard. Grasp and Electrocute are sometimes taken on him, but it's mostly just press attack and domination secondary like everybody else. Kled has always kind of been the bruiser counter, so that does really help though. Darius, Riven, Yasuo, Gnar and stuff, he is going to crush really hard. He can pick on tanks pretty well, like Ornn and Maokai, but Alawi is going to give him a really hard time. GP has also come back up because we're running a mid-game build now. Kind of wanted to mention it because of this, actually. You can tweak your favorite champion to fit the meta, kind of. So instead of crit and scaling on GP, we rush mid-game items now. Trinity for Sheen damage, then Ghost Blade Arm, Pen, and AD with the Sterix after that. Sterix actually buffs your Sheen damage, right? Even more, and then Ghost Blade Arm, Pen makes it hurt more after that. It is really clever, except that he doesn't do as well late game because he's got a mid-game build instead of crit. But still, if the meta is faster, you want to make your build fit it. Moving on to AD carry. Before we get into the obvious new AD that is beasting it in Korea, I'm sure you can all guess who that is going to be. Xayah is popping off at higher ranks. She won't ever show up properly on sites because it's mainly Diamond Plus or like players who have actually learned her, but still, she makes a lot of sense in this meta to learn, and especially for Season 8. You have really high AoE damage, so when we don't have many tanks, it means that damage actually really hurts. Good late game as well, so there's no real pressure to do something early. Good early game though, so you can actually fight, especially with your root that does a ton of burst damage. You have your ultimate to keep safe as well. You're really hard to focus. You don't need a team to help you at all. Pressy attack or fleet footwork are the rune choices at the moment, but the secondary ones are pretty cool. Alacrity and Bloodline in the Precision tree are both doing well at the moment. The extra lifesteal with triple crit build can actually really help. Ultimate hat is being used a little bit as well. It kind of sounds weird, but having your ultimate up a little bit more is definitely a really good thing. Pressy attack is going to help early, but like fleet footwork is going to be better for team fights, I think. A few are even running Precision secondary, kind of like Biscuits and Stopwatch or Free Boots is doing well. It's a bit different for an AD though. Matchups aren't the best right now, but they are going to get better. So Ezreal, Misfortune are really hard actually, but they're falling off a little bit. She can go even with most other champions, even Vayne though, which is really good at the moment. Speaking of which, Vayne is our other AD carry, now massively shot up as the best AD carry you can play. If you look at the last few weeks, she is so far ahead of every other AD in win rate, it's not even funny. She can get crushed early, but from about 25 minutes into the game, she just takes off and pops off. There is nothing too different about the runes or masteries, mostly pressy attack or fleet footwork. Fleet footwork seems to be doing better and it's easier to use for sure, which must play a part in it. They have triple healing page though, which is actually pretty cool. Fleet footwork, Taste of Blood, and Ravenous Hunter in domination, so you're going to be healing for a lot. A few people run a more defensive page, Bloodline in precision with Resolve secondary, taking Iron Skin and Second Wind if you really are going to get battered in the lane phase. It's mainly like Misfortune being worse, which was a worse matchup, and she's actually good versus Ezreal, even in his current insane state. That is why she's so good. Mid lane finally, and honestly, just because not a lot has actually changed here. If you've watched the last one, you know Katarina and Vlad are the best mid laners over there at the moment, even though we don't play them as much over here. We play Katarina, right, but not as much, and we don't win as much either. Xerath is probably the best overall mid laner if we take out Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is always a king of solo queue in Korea because of the roams, the mid game gold card, the burst. Especially at lower ranks though, there are not that many mid laners that have a really good win rate apart from Alistar and Twisted Fate, except Xerath. He is easy to counter if you have a coordinated team and engage, or you're a better player and you know what you're doing, but let's be honest, that's not solo queue, especially at lower ranks. That means that you can control the game out of reach, right at the back, which is perfect, especially early, which is kind of weird for a poke champion. If you get ahead, there isn't much the enemy team can do. Normally you would have mana issues, or you don't have enough damage, but Xerath has the damage and he has his passive for the mana as well. To beat you, they would need to engage, but you poke before they do and they're behind, so they don't have the damage anyway. It's really tough, to be honest. He is really good versus Azir, by the way, as well, like a really good counter. Most other matchups are even. They have ways to beat you, but you can still work around them. Kind of like Katarina can blow you up, but not if you get an early lead and then keep her low health. Fizz is one that I see pop up quite a lot. Probably top 5 below plat level in the mid lane. A lot of matchups really come down to skill and how well you know your champion, if that makes sense. Having the potential to beat meta matchups, though, if you know them, is really good. Like, even Katarina, Zed, Xerath, Yasuo, or Zoe, Fizz does really well against all of them. He is pretty underrated right now, a proper snowball champion, but has really good damage mid-game, and he can roam really well as well. I've seen him a little bit more recently, but he's a lot better than his win rate would show, if that makes sense, and I think it's actually worth a mention. That should give you an idea of a few nice things to try or how the Korean meta is changing ready for Season 8. Remember to like the video, thank you for watching, and for now, I'll leave you with the robots.